right, so now to be punctual, we're 1 minute past half past. So to kick this off, we're very excited. Thank you so much all for joining us to our webinar, Steering Green, the focus on the European Green Deal. Just to be sure, this is just as a baseline information, so there will be further information on this as well, and you will get more information as we continue with this webinar as well. So without further ado, we'd like to introduce ourselves.
Okay, I will start. I'm the European Green Deal MSX consultant, and I used to work as a Deputy Minister of the Environment in the Czech Republic, and I was in charge of negotiating Green Deal in the times that was adopting among the European Union.
Hi, I'm Robert Häusler. Great to having me here now. I'm the Global Solution Director in MSX International, working for the value stream of distribution and sales performance.
And my name is Hannah Wurst. I will be your host for today. Should you have any questions or anything else, please pop them into our chat and we will get to them later. And without further ado, as our agenda today is focused around first the foundation of the Green Deal, the impact on the retail network, as well as the opportunities that come with the Green Deal. And then on the end, we will focus on your questions and hopefully be able to answer all of them.
And let's jump right into the first part, which is the background on the European Green Deal. Next slide, please. As all we know, the global warming is undeniable reality, and it is driven by nothing else than extensive greenhouse gas emissions globally. Unfortunately, as the data shows, these emissions are still rising rapidly on the global scale, and they will cause, of course, the global warming for decades. European Union contributing only around 7-9% of these emissions, but the EU decided to take a leading role in combating this issue. European leaders and the member states are setting an example by working to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions, which is the cornerstone, as everybody knows, of the European Green Deal. What is important that the Paris Agreement here, next slide, please, sorry. Paris Agreement plays a crucial role in this endeavor by uniting nations around the goal of limiting global warming up to 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2100. However, despite the global pledges and targets set for 2030, we are still far from achieving this quite ambitious goal. Next slide, please. Another chart shows the market energy volatility, especially in Europe. And this volatility is not driven only by the war in Ukraine, but also by anticipated future of the legislation under the Green Deal. On one side, we have the Green Deal and its legislation proposal coming into effect from now on. On the other, we see how these factors alongside the energy prices impacts industries like automotive and automotive retail. This is why we decided to hold a seminar and discuss the implications and provide insight into what lies ahead of us. Next slide, please. When the European Commission and current and future President of the Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, was introducing the European Green Deal in 2019, and subsequently European member states adopted it in 2020, it promised a range of benefits, not just in environmental areas, but also into our daily lives. These benefits include clean air, clean water, or cleaner air, cleaner water, healthy and affordable food, energy efficient and climate neutral buildings, climate neutral transport, and all this underpinned by the principle of circular economy. However, achieving these benefits will require our significant efforts. While there are challenges quite important and huge challenges ahead of us, there are also substantial opportunities for those who are well prepared and, of course, well informed. Next slide. And from the background to the specific chapters of the Green Deal, and I would like to focus on the most significant parts which will impact automotive or already impacting automotive industry. These include 5 key legislative packages. The first one is Fit for 55 package, which is a comprehensive set of legislation and is already being implemented by the member states. The second one is Circular Economy Action Plan, which is the current and upcoming legislation aimed at enhancing circular economy principles in many aspects, again, of our life. What is very important for automotive industry is building energy performance directive, which is directive targeting into the energy efficiency of the buildings and the future targets for new and restructuring buildings. The fourth is Repower EU, which is kind of response to the war of Ukraine, aiming for independence from Russian gas and oil, and it even faster curb our fossil fuels use and emissions, greenhouse gas emissions. Last but not least is the EU taxonomy and ESG, which is the financial and generally almost all sector regulations that will have a substantial impact on the automotive industry as well. So these 5 elements are crucial for us, and understanding them in advance will be key to navigating the future successfully and benefit out of them. And now over to Robert.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Vladislav. Very helpful. And the insights are the baseline for my slides now. But basically, let's dive now into how the European deal reshapes or remake our automotive industry in the retail network. This is a big shift for sure, but it isn't just a big shift about new technology or technique. It's about how, at the end, we run our shops, our locations, and serve our customers at the end. So we are looking at a complete overall to go green from the ground up now. So if we are looking in these topics, building on the previous topics and the previous points, we need to consider as well the specific areas within our retail network that will be affected by, and not only affected, but ensure as well that each of these components that we are talking now, and we talked a little bit later in detail, align with our sustainability goals. And these are the ones that reduce our environmental impact and comply with the new regulations of the EU. So let's talk about the CSRD, so the Corporate Sustainability Report Directive, and that's the acronym CSRD, is a crucial mandate requiring large corporations to report non-fiscal aspects, specifically in environmental, social, and governmental criteria. And if we are talking about automotive, we are talking as well of OEMs. So the manufacturers at the moment will need to start reporting for the fiscal year 2024. So for this fiscal year, it's important for them to have these CSRD regulations. Smaller companies, in this case, have deadlines extending to 2025 and 2026. These reportings and the processings around the reportings demands a data collection from national sales companies for sure, and dealers to ensure compliance and transparency within their information. The Fit for 55 is another big deal in this area of Green Deal. Why? The Fit for 55 package is a significant initiative introduced in July 2021 as part of the EU climate law. it aims, and that's very important, to cut Europeans' net greenhouse gas emission by at least 25% by 2030. This is something that we need to know and to understand. This package at the end aligns seamlessly with the objectives of the Green Deal. So not only, but by providing a structured framework to achieve our climate targets. So understanding and integrating the directives from the EU of this package is vital for all our strategy in the upcoming years and months from now. One of the next packages is up to the building standards. So the EU has stringent energy efficient regulation for buildings, which are crucial for our compliance and sustainability goals. Starting in 2026, non-residential buildings over 250 square meters must adhere to photovoltaic requirements. That is an important issue. That's an important information for everyone who wants to build up new buildings or create new locations. By 2027, all new and renovated non-residential buildings must be electric vehicle ready. That's another important issue for buildings. These directives emphasize the importance of enhancing building insulations and overall energy efficiency to reduce our own carbon footprint. In the next slide, the EU taxonomy, and Vladislav mentioned these before, is a fantastic tool that helps us not only to understand what happens there, but more, it helps us to see where our investments are going and how they are supporting the Green Deal. It takes us all those big climate changes and environmental goals and makes them into something we can really understand. This helps us as well to plan and finance sustainable projects in a way that works for everyone in every country, while also making sure that we don't fall victim to greenwashing. We believe here as well that embracing this taxonomy is essential for our long-term sustainability and financial strategy. In the next slide, what we tried to figure out to adopting this sustainability or sustainable processes and practices under the European Green Deal offers multiple benefits. These includes not only cost reduction through lower structural costs and optimized energy usage that supports restructuring and rebuilding facilities, but as well, we are enhancing performance in the locations and in this case, in the dealer network. This is not just a regulatory requirement, but a pathway to an improved brand positioning, better market standing, and at the end, a prerequisite access to governmental fundings. And that's why it's so important to talk about this topic. In the next slide, let's delve into the specific impacts on our retail network in the automotive area. Key areas will be the energy management, as you see here, very well placed in the first row. The second one is the building efficiency, as I mentioned before, plus the water usage and the waste management. And in the end, we have a transportation issue as well, as one of the things that in the upcoming years needs to be looked at in a very intensive way. Each area of these requires a tailored approach, and this to minimize environmental impact while enhancing operational efficiency in every structure, in every location, and within every processes of a dealership. These changes will position us in MSX as well, but as well the whole automotive industry and the retail companies as a leader in the sustainable retail practices. In the next slide is an overall slide, but I would like to keep this opportunity, because what we did is one of the significant opportunities coming to photovoltaic for our retail network lies for sure in the installation of photovoltaics itself. One example is a recent installation that we presented in our next slide at a customer site in Czech Republic. That's an example, but please take it as it is. This is not only a demonstration of our feasibility to look at these topics, very important photovoltaic approach, but as well, for such kind of project, we also highlight the tangible benefits we can achieve with these kind of measures. I would like to highlight this because if you want, later on, after our webinar, you can have access to these kind of calculation and to ask for some other calculation for your own structure, for your own network as well. The benefits of integrating these photovoltaics into our operations or in the operations of the locations in the automotive industry and the automotive retailers include not only reducing energy costs, but as well extending the availability of EV charging solutions in every locations, taking care of regional impacts and regional problems, but as well increasing real estate value. So the value of every real estate location should be, with these kind of calculation and with the approach in this direction, with a higher value. The other thing is we are improving the ESG assessment. We avoid blackouts by calculating the right amount of energy needed in the locations. And we are enhancing grid independency by not only using our technology in an assessment center, but as well generating additional revenues from electricity surplus. These advantages at all highlight the importance of investing in sustainable energy green solutions. I would only highlight again, this is the time now where we can start these kind of opportunities, and it's now the right time for dealers, and in case for automotive dealers, to invest in these network, in these kind of energy consumption assumption, and to put in place actions around these topics. In our last slide, we would align with the Green Deal and in our retail network, and that must be a specific step development. The first step, we need to conduct status assessments focusing on energy consumption. This is done by assessment center that we can provide. We are able now to structure within a lot of questions a complete report that gives you the ability to check your system, your environmental area, and your location. Secondly, we can check the waste flow and the environmental risks out of these topics. Then, secondly, we should make informed investment decisions in energy efficient and zero emission technologies. And this is to achieve energy grid independency, as I mentioned before. Considering all these financing options, such as ESG compliance bank loans, EU funds, and national funds will be crucial at the end. Consider as well, and in Germany, we have a rating company that is now able to rate on the ESG and the Green Deal your loans. And that is something that we need to understand. That's not only the combination between financing funds, but as well how we can get a better rating by using assessments and by using the score, a better score. Ultimately, these steps will lead to sustainable and profitable business development, and finally, ensuring our continued success in our green future. So let us start to do this work, to have an assessment, to check the locations. And that's the start as well of our more webinar series focus around the Green Deal. And I would like to highlight and invite you to have this information and to keep yourself informed in this area.
Thank you so much, Robert, and thank you so much, Laislav. As you see, already first questions are rolling in, and if you are also in need of more information, please check out the QR code you can see on your screens right now. So as to our first question, how will we regulate changes that affect our operation?
Maybe I can hand it over if you allow me, Hannah.
Yes.
Two general answer is directly and indirectly. Indirectly, that the energy prices very likely will go up. You will have to curb your fossil fuels for heating or even cooling if you use them for cooling. And these fossil fuels will be more expensive because they will be subject as of 26, I think, of the ETS2 system. So there will has to be paid the ETS allowances out of, for example, out of each fossil fuel or every kilojoule, megajoule of fossil fuel use for example, heating. There will be huge requirement for your facility to comply with the, for example, energy performance directive for buildings once you decided to reconstruct them or construct the new one, and many others. So the problem or the benefit, it depends on the point of view of the Green Deal. It's really comprehensive and influence really each aspect of our businesses and lives. And it's very important to understand them and knowing what the change is going to be and how to get ready, be step ahead from the competitors and try to use it for your own benefits. So I don't know if I answered, because the answer would be for another seminar, but just briefly.
Thank you so much. I think that was a good overview for now. And then the next question is, what are the most common challenges automotive retailers face when transitioning towards the Green Deal, and how does MSX help overcome them? Maybe, Robert, you can shine some light on there.
Yeah. One of the most, I don't think it's critical, but the most lack that we have at the moment in our experience is that the acceptance of the transition to a more sustainable energy consumption. As you know, that in the retail area, we have a lot of requirements that we need in our contracts. We need to cover a lot of things that requires a lot of investments, not only in energy, but as well in infrastructure. But something that we are missing, and we are looking to this in a very critical way, is that that should be aligned with the investments in the energy consumption. What does it mean? If we are talking about energy consumption, we are talking about workshops, for example. What does it mean in workshops to have this assumption or this kind of energy consumption reduced in a certain way, but as well in the showrooms? Think about lights. Think about the consumption of ACs and something like this one. That needs to be aligned with the consumption, with the overall 55% consumption that we need to reduce. So this is one of the issues that we are now thinking about, to have a good balance between the contractual requirements and the saving effects of a Green Deal. And that is something that is, for me, one of the most important things, to find this balance between the mandatory things out of the contractual topics and the things that we need to do. Why? Because not only the CSRD reports needs to to have these kind of assumptions and the reductions, and we have to report these to the EU, but as well in the balance sheet. So the investments that should be done needs to be as well balanced between the contractual phases and the contractual content and the Green Deal topics.
Thank you so much, Robert. Another question is MSX planning to have a specific value stream focused on the European, on the deal, as well as do we have an initiative or project in the EU already implemented?
We are working, and I take it this as well as an opportunity, because we worked on 3 different modules in our world. One is to inform and to take care of a high level information in the NSCs and in the headquarters of the OM. The second one is in a lower level. It's on the dealer side, but as well on the structural side in every region. So we are organized ourselves in a kind of information, communication, and then real assessment center if it comes to outcome, to build a report that takes not only the issues of taking care of the different lacks in the energy consumption, but as well be part of this report can be part of ratings, for example, or something that we are calling now ratings, bank ratings in the regional rating scores for every dealer at the moment if they want to have some money. So that's one of the part of the game. The other one is if you want to have fundings, EU fundings, you need these reports and you need the information based on an assessment. So that's something that we are providing now at the moment. And we are clear and we are very conscious about the problems, but as well the opportunities that we can handle with these kind of modules.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Now, another question is, do retailers have EU subsidies for these eco-transitions? How about medium and bigger groups? So maybe Vladislav, you can give insight on this one.
I'm thinking how to look at it. When I jump directly to the subsidies, it unfortunately vary from country to country. And when we take some big countries like Germany or France, it can vary from region to region and even cities from city. But there's the good thing is there's a huge budget on the EU funds and national funds for this transition, green transition, and we should take advantage of it and benefit out of it once they are available. But we have to do it smart way, not to just grab the subsidy just because there's a subsidy, but look at each operation individually, assess it, and make some suggestion what would be best. And it is not always about the investment. It is in many times on the way we operate the facilities. And for example, in energy sectors, there is a huge change from the central energy distribution to decentralized energy generation and consumption, which resulting from European Green Deal as well, and will have huge impacts in the future. And having all this information will give us huge opportunity to save huge amount of money in now, in the future, and as well prevent some unnecessary investment for the future.
Okay, now with looking on the time, we have time for one last question. Should you have any further questions or could we not answer your question at this moment, please do reach out to us via email and we're more than happy to get back to you on this. So with how big do you estimate the total investment needed on the retail level in the EU to the next year in order to fulfill the requirements?
Okay, I think it's tough to say whether it is 0 or 100,000 euros or 1 million euros, but it always depends on the operations. And honestly, there are very few direct requirements, but many of them are indirect, and they will cost you a huge amount of money if you are not ready for them. And these are the moment where we have to look or you have to look at your operation or at your company and see what will be the future requirement and how you can get ready for them. But it's quite tough to say. There might be really zero, and it might be 5 up to, for example, 10 million euros, but it not necessarily. And the positive thing is there are, as Robert says, funds and green loans or credits that we may benefit out of. Sorry.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So thank you again, Bratislav and Robert, for this great insight. We do want to point out again, this is just the basis, and before there will be further webinars where we'll also get into more detail, and hopefully you'll be able to join us on that ride and stay informed with us as well. We also want to give big thanks to our great marketing team to have made this all happen. And thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you at the next webinar. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.